Welcome back, everyone, to Freaky Tales Podcast, and I am your host, Tony A. the Wizard. And before I introduce my special guest, who is no stranger to Freaky Tales, I want to thank everyone for being patient and subscribing, liking, commenting on the Freaky Tales page on Instagram. You know, you can follow us there in case you didn't know, but yes, you can follow us there for the latest updates on when we're going to have another episode. And I know that we have been slacking on the Freaky Tales podcast, but when you have a small team and there's only one of you that's a host, it's kind of hard to have like 4 different podcast shows all at once. So I ask you guys to forgive me, but we're going to try to keep Freaky Tales going, especially since we only have 6 months left to this year and Halloween is quickly approaching. So once again, a friend of mine who is no stranger to Freaky Tales Podcast, SAMMY RUIZ. How are you?
Good, very good, brother. Thank you for, it's my 3rd time, I think.
Yes, yes. I enjoy it every time we're here. We just have so much to discuss, so much to talk about, you know. But like I said, I want to thank you once again because I know you have a busy schedule as well. And before we get into it, why don't you share with the people where you're going to be at tomorrow? Maybe they can come by and meet you and support you and buy some merch.
Oh, yeah. For anybody that likes Halloween stuff, I'm going to be at Frank & Sons tomorrow in City of Industry. There's an event. So Frank & Sons, if you're familiar with it, they have all the vendors. But in the back, they have like an empty spot where more vendors are going to set up. So all the vendors are all like spooky type horror vendors. But it's a 2-day event, Saturday and Sunday. It's called Spooky Expo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. You know what? Then, you know what? I may just show up on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would like to go check it out because I used to attend Frank & Sons a lot. If I'm correct, is it a different building now than from the one? Because the one I used to go to was more like early 2000s.
Yeah. So they were at that old location for a long time, but they'd recently moved, I think, within the last 2 years.
And how is that building? Is it a lot bigger?
It's bigger, and they have air conditioner now.
Good.
Yeah, like air conditioner you could actually feel.
so once again, if you guys want to go down there and meet and greet with SAMMY RUIZ, hey, you know, it's a good place to go. And if you want to buy some early Halloween stuff or some early Halloween merch, like some of the stuff you're wearing right now.
Yeah.
So
get the spooky loco.
Yes, spooky loco. You know, something I came across on Instagram, and it's been trending. And before we get into what we want to get into, I just want to bring this up and kind of like pick your brain on this because it is kind of freaky. Mm-hmm. Scientists have invented living skin for robots. Okay, living skin for robots. Let me read a little bit more. And it says, according to BGR, Japanese scientists use human skin to create a living skin equivalent for robots that is water repellent, self-healing, and has realistic fleshly appearance. They say that this is all an attempt to make people who interact with humanoids more comfortable. How do you feel about that?
I think things are getting too close. There was actually an article on Facebook that I read, and you got to be careful with those articles. Yes. A lot of them are kind of bogus sometimes. Yes. But it said that there was a NASA scientist that had discovered that one of the AI, the robots, it started thinking for itself.
I'm like, that.
Yeah. I'm like, here we go.
Okay, now think about that. If that's true, are they preparing us for something?
It seems that way. Yeah.
It just seemed that way. I mean, we could only speculate. I mean, none of us really know. I don't work for, what's the guy's name? Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, yeah.
I think that guy might be an alien, But, but like living skin that it heals itself. Like let's be honest. Why do we need that?
Right. Why do they need that? That's the first thing that comes to mind is they're healing. They're going to live for a duration of time or forever. Right. And they're essentially, I think what comes to mind is they're going to replace us. You
never know. Can you imagine? And how freaky would this be? That you're a person that has wealth, you have money, and say you had a friend that passed away, maybe even a relative that passed away, and they say, we'll just make you another one of him.
Yeah.
Would you want that person living with you?
I wouldn't personally, no. I think it's that'd be too weird for me.
It would be weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember I saw something on YouTube years ago where in the 90s they were talking about cloning, okay? And of course they had cloned sheep, they had cloned other animals, and a lot of them didn't live long, okay? 'Cause just an experiment. But we were talking to this one guy, and he said, imagine having a baby brother that might have passed away and you want him again. We can clone him for you.
Oof.
And I'm thinking to myself, that was just freaky when I heard it. It was just weird. And I'm thinking, you know what? But that's not my real brother.
Right.
But there are people that are, if I could say it this way, are trying to play God.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I think, the humanity's going to learn the hard way. I always think of Terminator. Judgment Day.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I finally seen, I believe it's the last Terminator.
Okay.
The last one where Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's an old man, but he's still the robot.
That's right, yeah.
So Sarah Connor sees him, and she sees that Arnold in the movie The Terminator has a family that he's taking care of.
Yeah.
And I guess what they're saying is that he adapted to the human life, so now he cares.
Right.
And it's kind of weird. So that's what this kind of reminded me of, with human skin, living skin that heals itself.
Yeah.
And like what you said, that this life form, whatever you were reading, was starting to think for itself.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary, man.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's what makes humans is the human emotion, because maybe dogs have emotions, but our emotions allow us to think and make decisions about things. But once these robots and AI start thinking for themselves, they might see us as a virus.
Might see us as a threat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I want to touch on something that I totally forgot about, and it happened about 13 years ago, a few blocks away. Okay. And you guys can research this. All of this is public knowledge. You can just Google it. This happened in January of 2009. Okay. There was a man and a woman that were married, and they had a daughter who was 8, and they had twins that were 5 years old, 2 girls, and they had twins that were 2 years old that were boys. So they had a daughter, 2 girls, 2 boys, 2 set of twins. Okay, so 5 kids all together.
Yeah.
The story goes that they both worked for Kaiser, okay, and they were both fired, according to this article, for fraud.
Okay.
Okay. And what happened was they felt that they were, how would you say, fired, what is that word like? That word I'm looking for.
Like falsely terminated?
Falsely terminated.
Yeah,
falsely terminated, yes. So I guess they were trying to fight it. Didn't work out. And then one night, he put his wife and the 2 boys in one room, and he took the 2 daughters in another room, killed his wife, killed his 2 boys with a pistol revolver. Okay. Then he called the Eyewitness News on himself. Okay.
Yeah.
And told them what happened, why he did what he did. And then he goes and he kills his 2 daughters, and then he kills himself. Okay.
Man.
Here's the part that really, really got me, because it says this. All of them died from gunshot wounds to the head. Okay?
Man.
So on this letter that he wrote, like a suicide letter,
Yeah.
he pretty much just said that if they no longer want to live and they don't want to leave their kids in the hands of someone else, so they're just taking them, you know.
Yeah.
See, here's my thing, and I have children. I don't know if you have children or not, but what would possess a man to not only kill supposedly the love of his life, his wife,
Yeah.
but also take his children's lives? None of them were even 10 years old, 8, 5, and 2,
Yeah.
and shoot them in the head, you know. And yeah, but that just happened a couple of blocks away from us here,
Man,
you know.
it makes you think. It reminds me of the Amityville story.
Yeah.
You know, that guy claimed he was possessed, and like for me, I would never do that. If I were to take my own life, I would spare my daughters. Of course, I do have a daughter. I would never even consider that. But this guy in the Amityville, he claimed that he was possessed by a demon or something. And that's what made him kill his whole family. But he didn't take his own life. But
Yeah, but isn't that crazy that you just finished saying he didn't take his own life, but yet he was the one claiming to be demonically possessed.
right.
You would have thought that possibly that demon or whatever he had, whatever either it possessed him or tormented him, because there's a difference. You would have thought, take your own life now,
Right.
but he didn't. One thing that this one individual told me years ago, he's from the Middle East, and I won't say his name, but he's a Muslim, you know, and I respect him, and he's a good dude. But they fled his country to come over here. And he told me something that I thought was, I guess, somewhat strange, somewhat freaky. He said, most suicide, or should I say most Islamic leaders,
Yeah.
they do believe in suicide bombings, like when you walk into a place and you blow yourself up.
Right.
He says, and they're always recruiting people to do that, but they will never allow their children to be suicide bombers.
Ah.
And you think about that, why?
Right.
They believe, according to him,
Right.
what he told me, that when you kill yourself for your religion, if you will, you automatically enter into, you know, the kingdom, if you will, the way they believe.
It elevates their status and
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. But most people, most of them leaders, will never send their own children. Now we back up to the Amityville story. This guy said he was demonically possessed, kills his whole family, but doesn't kill himself.
Right.
This guy, a couple of blocks away, never claimed that he was demonically possessed. As a matter of fact, he made actually several phone calls after he had killed his wife and his 2 boys. And he hadn't killed his 2 daughters yet. And he calls the news, he calls the police, even writes a letter. And on the letter, on the suicide letter at the very end, he left a quote, and it's a messianic quote, like he was a Mason.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And supposedly the quote is something about being in distress, you know. So, but I just don't know what would possess a man to take his own family. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know what would drive a man into. I mean, I love my kids. You know, I would give my life for my grandbabies, for my children.
Right.
But it takes a lot.
Yeah.
You know, so.
It goes back to the question of morals, and it almost goes back to the question of putting real skin on AI.
Yeah.
You know, what's right and what's wrong. Because I would say 99% of people would never do what that guy did by taking his own family. But with that in mind, with morals, is putting real skin on a robot something we should do as well. You know, that's good and bad. People have different versions of good and bad.
And I'm glad you said that, because you said, you know, when we talk about morals and people have a different set of mindset when it comes to, if you will, good and bad. Quick story, and I shared it on my other podcast. There was a guy that was in the movie industry, you know, doing makeup, and he started getting into production, and he started working for a lot of major like movie sets.
Yeah.
And they really liked the way he worked, but he said one day he considered himself to be a Christian, and he said he parked his car. He was maybe about 30 minutes early to the set, and he said he saw a guy pull up. He didn't know who that guy was, and she said, so I just bowed my head and I lifted up my hands and I started praying.
Yeah.
He said, I get out of the car and the guy's looking at me kind of like almost like, what did I do wrong type of, you know? like I did something wrong.
Yeah.
So he walks up to me and goes, "Hey, how you doing?" He goes, "That's the guy that's putting up all the money for this movie." He goes, "I didn't know that."
Oh,
So he calls me and he says like this, "Hey, I want to tell you something. You leave that religion at home." That's what he said. When you come to Hollywood,
yeah.
he said, you leave your morals, you leave your heart, your conscience. He says, and your relationship or your religion at the door.
Yeah.
That's it. Because here there is no right and there is no wrong.
Right.
And he said it kind of frightened me because he's like, now he's telling me this, like, these guys have no morals here.
Yeah.
There is no right and there is no wrong.
Right.
That's what he told him. So
that happens. I not that I'm in the Hollywood industry or nothing, but I started doing work for companies like Hulu. I started drawing pictures for Hulu and getting intertwined with some other movies and stuff. And I'm like, and they think differently. You know, they're just a different kind of person. And it's just, like you said, there probably is no morals. It's just how bad do you want it? What are you willing to do?
How bad do you want it and what are you willing to do?
Yeah.
And it's very, very true. How many people, and let's just be real, are willing to sell their souls just to make it in Hollywood?
Yeah.
At any cost, even to the point, and there was a guy that told me this, whether it's true or not, I don't know, but it seems true.
Uh-huh.
It seems true, okay? He said, in Hollywood, I was told, in order for you to make it, you have to play a homosexual role.
Really?
For a male. This is what he was telling me.
As an actor?
As an actor. This
Okay.
is, again, what he was telling me. Whether that's true or not,
Yeah.
I don't know. But he said, and he started naming all the actors that have made it huge.
Yeah.
And he said they all played homosexual roles. And then I just said, well, didn't they respect that maybe you weren't? They don't care. They don't care. And I think that's where there is no right and there is no wrong
Right.
come into play.
Yeah.
You know, so when you're dealing with an industry like that, if you pretty much don't do what they say, you're not getting in.
Right.
And that's pretty freaky right there.
It is, yeah. the things people will do for fame and money.
Yes, exactly.
But I was going to say, too, on the same topic, I don't know much about these guys. I'm not sure if people like them or not, but they're called the Island Boys. Mm-hmm. I was watching something. I think I came across it maybe on Facebook or Instagram, but it was I believe their brothers, one of the brothers, he was talking about how they got a bit of popularity. I think people were singing their songs, but he had said his life started going bad, and he started explaining that he had sold his soul to the devil. He said that he made a deal. He thought he would be okay. I don't know if it was maybe a skit he was doing on YouTube or.
You know what? I actually post that up on the Freaky Tales page.
Oh, okay.
He was admitting whether it's true or not, only he knows.
Yeah.
Okay. But see, that's a question that maybe we should ask the public. And Alex, maybe if you could put it on the live chat, is do they believe, I don't know how you want to word it, but do you believe that you can sell your soul to the devil? Do you believe that that's possible?
I think, I thought about that for a bit. If you offer, it's very similar to Hollywood. I think it's almost like, I'll do anything at this point to get what I want, giving up your soul. And I do believe that there is something after. I think that the soul is real.
Yeah.
It's what makes us conscious, but
right.
I do think, that's possible.
Yeah. And that's a scary thing, because if you're dealing with a person that's willing to do anything to make it, even to the point, maybe even backstab you.
Yeah.
It's a cutthroat business, what everybody says. If me and you go off for one part and I really want it, and my mindset is that as of Hollywood, there is no right, no wrong, there's no wrong, then I can't be trusted.
Right.
Because I'll do anything that I could to knock you out and let me get that role.
Yeah.
Because after all, I'm trying to make it.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird? Isn't it freaky that a lot of these actors make it and then they die?
Yeah.
A lot of them do. Or they mysteriously die, or they overdosed, or they killed themselves. Who would have thought people like Robin Williams would have killed himself?
Yeah.
We don't know what went on behind closed doors, but that's the industry for you.
Right.
I watched the documentary that I don't think I covered on the last Freaky Tales episode. I saw something on Netflix, the John Wayne Gacy documentary?
The Gacy one. I'd seen it, but I seen the picture of it on Netflix, but I'd never seen it though.
It's worth watching.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth watching. I know I'll probably play spoiler right now, but if you haven't seen it, it's been on Netflix and it's worth watching. I believe it's like a docuseries, like 5 or 6 of them.
Uh-huh.
And this guy was loved and trusted by his community.
Yeah.
You know, dabbled a little bit into politics. You know, a lot of people like councilmen knew who he was.
Yeah.
And he was very popular. And then after a while, he started dressing up like a clown, started attending these parties, and everybody just kind of like loved this guy. Nobody ever suspected anything. But, you know, he was a homosexual, pretty much serial killer.
Yeah.
You know, and he was picking up boys and taking them to his house. He would force them some oral sex, and he would give them oral sex, and then just casually kill them and bury them under his house. Man. Under his house. Okay. When they finally found out what he had been doing, he had killed 29. He had 29 bodies under his house.
Wow.
29 bodies.
Was that his total victim count, or was there more that they?
They believe that there's more.
Okay.
But what they found in his house, you know, I should say underneath.
Yeah.
They had searched and searched and searched, and you know they couldn't find anything, and he thought he was, you know, scot-free.
Yeah.
Until one detective finally said, "I need to look under the house again." They had searched and nothing. So finally, one corner of the house, they saw somewhat of a little pool of water. And he just decided, let me go ahead and shine light on the water. Because he had stuck his hand in there and nothing. But it was just a little water.
Yeah.
But he noticed worms were swimming.
Oh.
And he has said, in order for those worms to live, they have to be feeding on something.
Right. Right.
That's when they said, we're going to start digging right here.
Oh, shit.
And the bodies started coming up.
Man.
So they arrest him, take him to the police station, and the guy just starts like it's bragging, like it's showtime.
Wow. Yeah, he's one that I'm not too familiar with, and I think I love scary movies, but does it serial killers? That's the one that really gets me, because a lot of these freaking maniacs, they kill kids, they kill innocent women. And yeah, that's one I can't do. And actually, on the same topic, I don't know if you're familiar with Zach Bagans. He has a TV show. So in Vegas, he has a museum called the Haunted Museum, the Zach Bagans Haunted Museum. And I went up there with my girlfriend, and so we got some tickets. We went in not knowing what to expect, but that place, it's if you don't like serial killers, it's gonna be tough because they have a lot of his stuff there. His actual, I think, things he like letters he wrote,
right?
Things he wore.
See, and that's where I'm going with this, and I'm glad you went there, because my thing is this. Before the docuseries was over, I was thinking to myself, I wonder who lives in that house now.
Right.
Okay. But in the documentary, they actually tore the house down after they dug everybody out. They almost like wanted to erase that memory.
Right.
You know, it's kind of like when OJ moved out of his house. They tore his house down. Okay. So my question to you is this. Can you live or buy a home, or, you know, when I say home, it could be a condo or a house, okay, where a massacre took place?
I personally couldn't, because it's my opinion that even houses or different items carry energy. And I think that energy of that type of horror would stay in that place forever. And I think it would get to you somehow, some way, and it would affect your life. That's my opinion, I think.
I believe the same way. I couldn't do it. And down the street where that happened, there's families living there now.
Wow.
I'm not saying that they shouldn't live there. I'm saying that I wouldn't live there.
Right, right.
I don't care how beautiful and how elaborate it is. It's a nice 2-story home.
Yeah.
But I can't live there, man.
Right.
To know that this man, you know, took his daughter, his wife and his 2 boys in that room, and in this room he killed his 2 daughters and he killed himself in this room. I couldn't. Can you imagine waking up in the middle of the night and then you see a silhouette of that man there?
Oh, yeah. I always think about like when you would talking about houses where tragedies like that happen. I think of like Native Americans, how they would refer to the land being unpure and
Right.
the land being evil.
Right.
So I think things carry energy, that type of I forget what they call it, resonant energy that sticks with the place when there's something terrible happens.
I do believe that, man. I do believe that. This one guy said it somewhat this way. He said, whatever, because he kept using the word demonic.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever demonic spirit drove that family to do that is still there.
Yeah.
Some people call it energy. Some people call it, a spirit, a ghost, whatever. Okay, I'm not a paranormal expert, so I'll use whatever words they use to explain to me.
Uh-huh.
But they believe, this person told me that demonic spirit is still there. And whatever family goes in there, they're going to attach themselves mainly to the children.
Yeah.
So mainly to the innocent children. So now here's another question that I also asked people on the live chat and people watching at home. Could you buy something possibly that was in that home? Say the Sharon Tate murders where Charles Manson sent those people to kill Sharon Tate and the rest of the people that were there. Or say what's another, let's just John Wayne Gacy, something from his house. Say that somebody told you this couch used to belong to John Wayne, he just sleep here on here every night. Can you buy that?
Oh no. Yeah, I'll sleep on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the crazy part is that there are people that would buy that.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't understand that you knew that this man killed, massacred so many people.
Yeah.
And that thrills you that was his couch?
It goes back to morals again, huh?
Yeah.
Right and wrong. Yeah.
Okay, so now say that they brought you a suit that Richard Ramirez used to, let's just say, wear in court.
Yeah.
And the guy said, this is it. Nobody bought it, but if you got a couple of hundred, I'll sell it to you. Would you buy it?
I wouldn't personally.
Yeah.
No, just knowing that dude, I believe, yeah, he was sick in the head. Maybe he was possessed by demons, but he was a bad one. Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. Let me take it a step further. Would you even wear it and try it on, maybe just to take a picture?
No, I would. If I saw it in a room, I would. I'm like, not here.
Yeah.
I would turn right out. Yeah.
Yeah. And the sad part is that I'm sure that there's people watching that will probably say, like, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah.
There are certain doors that shouldn't be opened.
Right.
You don't know what you're putting on. Whatever was clinging on to that person, to Richard Ramirez or whatever possessed that man, I believe is in stuff that they once owned. It belonged to them.
Yeah.
So
I think about Zach Bagans with that haunted museum in Vegas, because he buys everything. He buys all the stuff from. He has stuff from Richard Ramirez, Dahmer, I think, Charles Manson. But he has it on display for everyone to go see and stuff. But there was, I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't been to that museum. They're very strict. You can't film or anything, but there's certain rooms that made me feel sick. For example, there was one that, I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Kevorkian, the death doctor.
yeah, the death doctor. Please explain a little bit of what he used to do for our viewers that may not know what he used to do. And
Yeah.
if I'll interject as well.
So for anybody, to my understanding, for anybody that was dealing with a terminal illness and they couldn't take the pain, say if they were going through cancer or something like that was just too painful, they would go to him. And so he wasn't able to do this in a hospital. So he had a van, and that van is in this museum. But he had a van where he would just plug him into to some IVs, and he pretty much made a potion, some type of medical thing that took their lives, would kill them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's assisted suicide.
They would call him Dr. Death. Now, here's I watched, I'm not sure if it was a documentary or I actually watched the actual trial,
Yeah.
that there was a woman that hired him to, if you will, put her mother to sleep.
Ah.
Okay. They invited him over. He explained to the daughter what she was going to do. Mm-hmm. I inject this, and then I inject this. This puts her to sleep. This shuts down her nervous system. This shuts down the heart. It'll be, peaceful. Okay. Well, it was weird because she says this. Mm-hmm. she heard a little noise, like a, and that I'm gonna go check on my mom.
Mm-hmm.
She opened the door quietly, and this guy, Dr. Death, was strangling her.
Really?
He was strangling her, and she was hitting the table. I guess whatever he was doing wasn't working.
Wow.
So he was just trying to kill her.
You know what? That's the impression I got, because a lot of people that I spoke to that kind of explained what he did to me, they kind of made it seem like he was doing a good thing for people. But there was one thing that that made me change my mind, is kind of made me think that he was demented. But in this room where they had his van and stuff, they pretty much had it set up like he had it set up.
Right.
But he had recorded his own music. I guess he played the flute or something. So he recorded his own music that people could listen to as they were passing away. It's like, how could he do that? Like, you know,
Yeah.
it disturbed me, that music. And like,
And what kind of music was this again?
it was weird flute music. He was just, I guess he'd played the flute or the clarinet or something like that. Some type of wind instrument.
Some type of wind instrument. You know, it's funny because if you listen to that song, Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to say it was either in the 60s or probably maybe even before then, where they will refer to Satan as the Piper.
Really?
Yeah, the Piper.
Oh, okay.
And some people would say, it's time to pay the piper. That was a saying.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's time to pay the piper. And in the song Stairway to Heaven, nobody knows, first of all, what he's talking about, because the song doesn't make sense.
Right.
We all know the words. We all know the music. Beautiful song. But what is he really saying in that? And I challenge everyone, go and listen to the song Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. Nobody knows what he's talking about, okay? But he talks about two roads, that you could be on one road, but it's not too late to pretty much change your mind and get on the other road, because the piper is calling you to join him.
Oh, okay.
That's what he says.
Really?
Yes. Listen to the song. So you're going down one road, but it's not too late for you to turn around, because the piper is calling you to join him. So a lot of people that have knowledge of a lot of these words pretty much knew what he was referring to.
Right, right.
Okay, because he's talking about two roads. Now, I read once in the scriptures, when I see in the scriptures referring to the Bible,
Yeah.
and it talks about two roads. One's a narrow road that leads to life, and one's a wide road that leads to death. So the way this one guy was breaking it down, that in that song they were referring to those two roads. You can go to the one that leads to life, but it's not too late for you to turn around and join the piper, because he's calling you to join him. And I thought that was pretty freaky when I found that out. Whether that's what he meant or not,
Yeah.
I would think to myself, what a coincidence.
That's scary, huh?
Yeah.
Like, especially with Lucifer, you would think like guitar, like electric guitar, like Slayer.
Yeah, right.
But to think of the flute, that kind of makes it even scarier.
Yeah, so when you were talking about Dr. Kevorkian with the flute, just imagine, maybe, I don't know, he was leading them to hell, and he was playing that flute that they're about to hear when they cross over.
Yeah.
The piper is calling you to join them.
That literally all connects now that I think about that.
Yeah, so now you wouldn't wear Richard Ramirez's suit. Now, here's another scary one. Remember that little boy that was killed by, I think his name was Silverman or something like that? He was on his way to, he had bought like some Skittles. It was a little black kid. I don't remember his name, but he was killed by some guy named something Silverman. And this little boy, this older adult killed this black boy. The whole story was they were in a scuffle. They started fighting. I guess this kid started beating up this man. This guy pulled out a gun and shot him. Okay, it was a big, huge story. My whole point on sharing that is this: that guy ended up selling that gun and somebody bought it.
Really?
Who would want that?
Yeah.
You know, what do we call these things? Relics? Is that what they are? Or what do we call them? I don't want to call them souvenirs, because that's not what it is. But
yeah, like a relic, I guess, huh?
yeah, like can you imagine? Say that they found the knife that whoever killed those people. You know, people would say the people that OJ killed. I don't know who killed those people, but it was Goldblum and the wife of OJ, the OJ murders.
Yeah.
Imagine if they found that knife. Okay, supposedly that cut them all open. Who would want to buy that?
Yeah.
But the sad thing is, there's somebody that wants that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's somebody that wants that. Remember, if you ever see that movie, Constantine with
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, that was a good movie. Huh?
Remember, it was about that sword.
Right. Yeah.
Now, is it true? Was that the sword that supposedly pierced Christ's side, or no?
It was. Yeah. I think so.
It was
yeah.
something like that, where it kind of gave you power or whatever. But in this movie, it was like demonic power.
Right.
It's just kind of funny that in the movie they actually associated demonic with a relic or an actual sword. You know what I'm saying? Do you believe that certain things like that can bring either demonic or negative energy if you bring them home?
I think so. And one person that would always tell me that thing was my mom. She always, because I love scary movies, and I collect. There's a kind of a fine line between people that collect props from like movies. Say the movie Scream. If you were to buy the ghost face mask that was worn in the movie, technically they're killing people, but it's fictional. People love collecting that stuff, and I kind of do as well. I like those kind of things. But she would say, be careful, especially with books. She's like, because I heard there was a good quote that she had said one time. It said, "Open a book with caution," something along those lines.
Right.
But I used to buy these books, and specifically the scariest book that I've ever read was a book called "Hostage to the Devil."
Hostage to the Devil. What is that about?
It's so there's a priest in New York. His name is Malachi Martin.
Okay.
And it's he in the book he tells 5 stories about 5 exorcisms that he's performed. And I've read a lot of books. I've seen a lot of scary movies, but this book in particular, I couldn't finish reading it. It's that scary.
Really?
And she would say, be careful with that, because it's going to open up your mind and bring negative things.
Somebody shared that with me, because I have a lot of books. Mostly ancient history books, okay?
Yeah.
And some religious, when I say religious books, I guess from somebody writing maybe a commentary about the Bible or something like that.
Yeah.
But somebody told me, and I don't want to get the quote wrong, but he was pretty much saying, not all books should be opened, or be careful what books you open, or something like that.
Right.
He said, because you don't know where it could take you. And I said, where it can take you? And he went like this.
Exactly.
Because there are things that can literally make you see things totally different.
Yeah.
And there's power in those words.
Right.
I once heard life and death is in the power of the tongue. Because look it, with the tongue, you can uplift, build, encourage, motivate, inspire someone.
Mm-hmm.
You can love someone with your words, but you could also tear them down. You could also break them down. You could also, how many people have probably been killed themselves because they were threatened, or because they weren't liked, or because maybe they were ridiculed,
Right.
but they were never touched?
Yeah.
Life and death is in the power of the tongue. So many times a lot of people put these words here in these books.
Right.
And they start soaking them in, and before you know it, you start seeing things a little different.
Yeah.
You start seeing people a little bit different. Anton LaVey, the guy that started the First Church of Satan in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
I read a paragraph of one of his books where he pretty much said that man was no different from an animal. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Men and women are the same. That's why he didn't have a problem sleeping with another man. That's why he didn't have a problem with animals, with women.
Right.
Because there was no different. He lived by that quote that the man who ordained him, Aleister Crowley, came up with: "Do what thou wilt."
Okay.
Do what thou wilt. Do whatever you want. Another goes back to Hollywood. There is no right and there's no wrong.
Right.
Okay. Do what thou wilt. Do whatever you want. So, and it's sad because that guy Anton LaVey, did you ever hear the story of him on his deathbed?
I'd heard something briefly, but I wasn't sure if it was correct though. But you might have saw
His
something.
sister went public with it because she was there.
Okay.
And for a Satanist, according to her, this is not me, death is like something great. You're moving on to the level you've been wanting to get to.
Yeah.
Okay. And she said that he had this terrible look on his face, and then he kept saying, oh no, something's wrong. What did I do? And he died.
Ooh, that's scary, huh?
Yeah.
He messed up.
Yeah. Now, whatever that meant, I don't know. But when she said that, that's not good.
Yeah.
That's not good. I mean, we were taught, I was taught as a kid that the devil is here to steal, kill, and destroy. He is the father of lies. He's been lying since the very beginning. There is no truth in him. The sad part is everybody thinks the devil's going to come like Freddy Krueger or like the Exorcist or, but they come as a nice person. Hey, how you doing?
Right.
And what they do, they gain your trust. And when they hug you, really the reason why they're hugging you is because they're looking to see where they can stab you in the back.
Right.
And then once you gain their trust, then he'll kill you and wear your spine around his neck.
A wolf in sheep's clothing, huh?
That's exactly what that is.
Yeah.
So,
all that reminds me of is one of my favorite horror movies, and it's kind of like a mystery horror movie, but it touches on all these subjects about books, but it's called The Ninth Gate with Johnny Depp.
Oh, that's a good movie.
Yeah, it's an older movie from the 90s, but it's for people that don't know it. It's his character's name is Dean Corso, and he's a book detective, and he gets hired by this big rich millionaire in New York to investigate this book that was supposedly co-written by the devil.
Right.
So he goes, there's like 3 copies of it, like in France, Portugal, and I think the US. And he starts figuring out things with the pictures in the book.
Yes.
Some of them are signed LCF. Some of them have different signatures.
Yeah.
And I guess it's a spoiler.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's an old movie.
Yeah.
But once he realizes that he collects all the drawings that say LCF, it opens up the ninth gate of hell.
The Ninth Gate. And he became obsessed with it.
He become obsessed, yeah.
He was hired to investigate those books to see if they were frauds or they were real.
Right.
But really what took place is that those LCF, Lucifer, wasn't just in one book. It was hidden within 3.
Right.
So this man who hired him, which was an evil man as well.
Yeah.
He, as soon as he got the letters, all the 9 letters that were open up the gate, he had 1 page wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
He had 1 page wrong, and Johnny Depp was, I guess, obsessed with the idea of like, I'm gonna go through the 9th gate.
Yeah.
And he did. So I always thought that was a good movie because I love books, but there was a lot of murder mystery behind them because everybody kept dying.
Right.
And the one that really tripped me out was the lady in a wheelchair, because she said, "Oh, when I was a little girl, I saw Lucifer."
Right, yeah.
And it was so beautiful, and I dedicated my whole life to him.
Yeah.
But look at her words. He was so beautiful, and I dedicated my whole life to him. So
Yeah.
obviously he was pleasing to the eye, possibly even charming, that she fell in love.
Yeah.
That just goes to show you he's not going to come as this horrible, as ugly looking dude. He's going to come to gain your confidence, to gain your trust.
Right.
So that's something that we have to look out for. But
how easily led astray humans are, huh? Because of emotions, because of desires, and
yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I have a pretty good judgment of character.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There are certain people I just don't want to meet.
Yeah.
Okay. There are certain people that I know have tried to make their way to me and try to shake my hand.
Yeah.
I won't shake their hand. It doesn't mean that I'm going to be mean, but there's just some people that I can feel their negative energy.
Right.
And I want nothing to do with those people. Because I do believe, and this is why I say this, people may say, "Tony, that's mean that you wouldn't even shake their hand." I'm going to tell you why. Because I've learned that people can transfer things by laying hands on someone.
Yeah.
Okay? So don't be so quick to allow someone to lay hands on you.
Yeah.
Whether it's a handshake, on your back, whatever. So a great movie that displays that, it's Fallen with Denzel Washington.
Oh, man, you read my mind. I was just about to say Fallen, because he passes through touch.
Yeah.
Azazel. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And Azazel is a demonic being, or probably the devil himself in the Bible, because the Bible gives Satan many different names, whether it's Satan, Lucifer, son of the morning, Azazel, Belial, Lord of the Flies, the serpent.
Yeah.
He has so many different names. He has so many different characteristics.
Right.
But yeah, you know what? But that's how the enemy works. He uses the power of the tongue.
Right.
So For an example, and I know I'm talking a lot. You can interject whenever you want. The story of in the Bible of the serpent talking to Eve in the book of Genesis.
Yeah.
Okay. When he gets the woman to eat of the fruit, he never took the fruit down himself and gave it to her. All he did was talk to her.
Right, right.
Think about that. That's all he did was talk to her. And before you knew it, she ate of the fruit. Nothing happened. She gave to her man. Okay? And then now we live in the fallen world according to that story.
Right.
Okay. Here's my thing. If that story did happen, during that whole conversation, where was the man?
Yeah, that's true. I never thought about that.
Now look at it this way. If the man would have been there, there's a possibility that conversation would have never taken place.
Okay.
Okay. According to that story, the serpent, Satan, didn't talk to the man. I can get to the easier one.
Ah, okay.
You see what I'm saying? And I think a lot of times, women, and I want to be careful with my words, are if you will, are being lied to by certain people, or are being certain men are being deceitful, and they don't want to talk to the husband, but they'll talk to her. So a lot of times they'll convince them to buy something that they don't really need.
Right, right.
You know, you buy this car, your husband would love it. When your husband will probably say, we don't need this junk.
Right.
You know, so I think a lot of times women are deceived, are tricked, because there are some good car salesmen that have the gift of gab. The gift of gab.
Silver-tongued devils, huh?
Yeah, silver-tongued devils. And I guess that's my whole point, is that a lot of times if the man is there, guess what? That conversation probably would have never have taken place. So that's what I take away from that story. But my whole point was that he never forced her. He just talked to her.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that makes me think of the Jonestown massacre, where you think like you could literally kill someone just without touching them. Just break them down every day.
The Jonestown, you're talking about Jim Jones?
Yeah.
Jim Jones, that he moved the People's Temple to Guyana,
Right.
which is South America.
Yeah.
And then he just convinced them that this is Armageddon and they're going to come for us. So we need to drink the Kool-Aid,
Yeah.
which is poisoned, and they knew it, and we're going to kill ourselves.
Yeah.
And they did. Now, let me tell you something about that coward. Because you know when they found him with a gunshot to his head.
Yeah.
He killed himself instead of just drinking the poison that those kids and those women drank.
Damn. Yeah, there was a movie. It's a newer movie on one of the streaming things, but it covered all the events and the people that drank the Kool-Aid, they were suffering with their stomachs. But they showed that he killed himself with his gun.
Here's another one. David Koresh, Waco, Texas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was this religious nut that, think about this. This is how, in a negative way, religion can be powerful. Because once somebody believes in something and have faith in something, they're not going to let it go. He got them to believe that he was the Messiah, and then eventually that he was God himself.
Wow. I know I'm on a movie kick right now, but that reminds me of the Book of Eli. Have you seen that with Denzel Washington?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And this guy even convinced the men that that's your wife, but only I can sleep with her because I need to plant my seed.
Yeah.
And they said, you're God.
Yeah.
You know? And he just did it with his tongue. And he convinced them.
Yeah.
You know, now and think about this. Can somebody be arrested for that?
No, that's a weird one.
That's a weird one.
Yeah, you can't be charged with.
Like, you knew what he was telling you was wrong, but you did it.
Right.
That's a weird one, man. But words are powerful. And a lot of times those words are put in books, movies, and in music.
Yeah.
So.
Especially now, I think, I know a lot of people out there are very strong-minded, but right now with a lot of people going through negative things, with the whole virus, the pandemic, we lost a lot of people, a lot of relatives. A lot of people might be kind of suffering mentally.
Yeah.
And it's just a warning, be careful what you listen to, be careful who you listen to, because there's a lot of people that are going to take advantage of those types of moments.
There are people that will feed you fear.
Yep.
and then look to you
Yeah.
as, what do we do? And really what that person did just reeled you in.
Right.
You know, now I got this person, they'll do whatever I say.
Yeah.
And it's terrible, but that's the way these people, you know, move, I guess.
Yeah.
There are people that get off on deceiving people and doing people wrong.
Yeah.
Thank God, honestly, man, that I'm not one of those people, because I see those people coming a mile away. And those people, when they recognize me, they know that I see right through them.
Yeah.
They know I see right through them. And those guys are cowards. They won't come up to me. They won't try to talk to me because I see right through them.
Right.
You know, they feed on the weak-minded, and they feed on whatever they want, and then they want those people to, if you will, depend on them. What do we do next? We need you to go over here. Okay, what else? Go over there. Donate some of this money. We need to buy this, and before you know it, you got your own cult.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they get started.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how they get started. So
they prey on people, weak people, and I hate to call them weak people. It's just people suffering, you know, through whatever they're going through. It's a lot of hard times, but yeah, you got to be cautious what you listen to.
Yeah, you know, think about this just for a second. I want to deceive the next generation, and I want to, and I'm saying this as a person that has some type of psychotic, demonic mind. Okay, mm-hmm. I want to deceive the next generation, you know, because Hitler once said, you know, he who owns the youth controls the future. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I want them to sell drugs. I want them to kill themselves. I want them to destroy themselves. I want to dumb down the next generation. I want men to think they're women. I want women to think they're men. How do I do it? Because if I just tell them, go sell drugs, they're not going to do it. If I tell them, go kill that guy, they're not going to do it. Mm-hmm. But what if I put a beat behind it? And I rhyme it? And I just get everybody to sing along with it. Mm-hmm. And before you know it, they're singing my lyrics. Before you know it, they're taking drugs.
Yeah.
They're destroying themselves. Before you know it, men start wearing purses. And we'll make it a fashion. You know?
It's always through pop culture, huh?
That's
how you target the young people.
Yeah. Exactly. I know a lot of people like to say this about rap music, and they said, well, you know what? Music evolved. My opinion, I believe it was changed on us. I don't think it evolved. I think it was just changed on us. And when I say changed on us was this: we were going in one direction, and then somebody walks in, hey, we're not going to play that no more. Mm-hmm. We're going to name it something else. We're going to change the beat up, and then we're just going to change. And then from there, guess what? The culture went a whole different other direction. Uh-huh. Through music. That's how powerful some of these words are.
Yeah.
You know? So...
yeah, I'd experienced a bit of that. I want to go see a movie recently called The Northman, and it's about Vikings and stuff. Uh-huh. And it's funny, I started laughing to myself because after the movie, they fight with swords and stuff like that. And I just felt like getting a sword, and I'm like, man, I was all into it. Right. You know, I'm like, how easily influenced we are. You know,
put it right before our eyes, and before you know it, I'm a Viking.
Yeah,
that's just the way it is. I mean, for an example, I was watching the movie Halloween. The Michael Myers, the last one, it just came out, okay?
Yeah.
I bought it on Blu-ray. I was watching it. One of my grandbabies walks in, and he just starts looking at it, and he calls him the man in the white mask. Mm-hmm. And he's looking at it, and he's looking at it, and he sees Michael kill somebody with a knife. He runs out. I didn't think anything of it. You know, I should have just turned it off when he was there or pressed pause.
Yeah.
But it was the music and the action sounds that kind of like called his attention.
Right.
About a week later, I'm cutting up some fruit, and I put the knife there.
Yeah.
And he said this. He calls him the man with the white mask toy.
Oh, okay.
He was pointing at the knife, and he has somewhat of a little accent because his father's from Boston. Uh-huh. The man with the white mask toy. And I said, no, mijo, no. So I just put it away in the sink because I would hate for him as a kid to grab that and think it was a toy because he saw it in the movie.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we got to be careful also what we play in front of our kids.
Right.
Some parents think that could be funny, and some parents can see that could be dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, so we're going to press pause right there, and we're going to come back, take a 5-minute intermission break, and we're going to continue right where we left off, and we'll eventually get to some phone calls.
Okay, perfect.
So I want to thank everybody that's on the live chat, everybody who's not on the live chat, everybody who's liked, comment, subscribed, and even shared. We'll be taking calls in a few minutes, so we're going to take a 5-minute intermission break. Go ahead and get your popcorn ready. We got some more topics we're going to discuss, so we'll see you then. Welcome back, everyone, to Freaky Tales podcast on this Friday evening. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Once again, I am back here with my friend, Sammy RUIZ. This is your third time here. How do you like it so far?
It's been fun, brother. Every time, dude. Thank you.
You know, it's funny because I once said that we should have Halloween twice a year.
That's
every 6 months.
Yeah, speaking of the event that I'm doing this weekend, it's a trip because these events happen pretty much every weekend throughout the entire year. But people, that's the quote they say, or the motto is Halloween 360.
What do you think? Why do you think it is that people are so attracted to the spooky season, or the spooky movies, or the spooky costumes, or just the spooky side of it, the dark side, if you will? What do you think it is, man?
I think, in my opinion, the majority of the people that go to the shows are really good people, but I think they get a kick out of being someone else.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people, what they call cosplayers, so they dress up as like the Michael Myers or the Ghostface from Scream.
Right.
So they get it's their chance to be someone else, a new identity.
Right. In Denver, Colorado, I was there for 3 years in a row. They do it in October, and they call it, I believe it's called a zombie crawl or zombie something.
Uh-huh.
And it's like their parade in a sense.
Yeah.
Anybody can go dress up. It's 1 day a year. And it's all through 16th Street Mall, downtown Denver. I was there 3 years in a row. And the first year that I got there, it was by accident. I didn't even know that they were even having it. I said, what's this? And I went downstairs, and it's like blocks of people just walking back and forth.
Yeah.
To me, it was like Not Scary Farm during the day. Like, I loved it. So anybody who lives out there in Denver who's watching, you know exactly what I'm talking about, Zombie Crawl. And it's very, very, very exciting. It's very different. I think something that you would actually like.
Yeah.
It's almost, I mentioned, like a huge pop-up and everyone is dressed.
Yeah.
So it's really good. I like it.
It's fun how we, I always tell people at the shows that I do, the events, how we can all connect and be really so cool to each other, no matter what we are, what color, height, weight, it don't matter. We all love the same thing. We all love scary movies.
and you know what? It's funny, man, because that's everywhere. Like, I don't believe it's a coincidence that throughout the world, people have experienced paranormal things. Whether they heard a sound, whether they heard somebody walking next to them, whether they seen something, whether it was something demonic, whether it was energy. It's experienced everywhere around the world. And I really do believe that there's something, if you want to call it this, on the other side.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a different dimension. I don't know. But there was some things that I wanted to bring up that we had talked about over the phone. And consciousness and stories about near-death experiences. Do you know anyone that had a near-death experience or experienced something like that?
I have, yeah. Actually, this is the first time I've ever talked about this outside of talking to my girlfriend. But I'd lost my mom. I lost my mom in 2020.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
And she was in the hospital, and it was during the height of the pandemic, and we got a chance to go visit her, one more time. This was on a Saturday, and we lost her Sunday. So we went to go visit my mom, and my mom, to kind of, I'm going to set this first before I explain the story, but my mom was she was very logical. She had faith, she had faith in a higher power, but she was also very logical. Like, she wouldn't, if she heard a noise in the house, she's like, oh no, that's probably just the house. She wouldn't jump right to a conclusion.
Right.
But my point being is, when we were visiting with her, she'd looked at me straight in the eye with a straight face. She's like, I saw Jesus.
Really?
Yeah, and I saw, just looking in her eyes, she had the most conviction. I knew she was telling the truth. And that, to me, gave me all the confirmation that I needed. Because I was always skeptical of an afterlife. I'm like, is there something after? Do we just cease to exist? But just hearing her say that she saw Jesus,
Wow. I don't know how true this is, okay? But I'll just tell you what people have told me. I've never had a near-death experience, and I'm not going to start claiming that I had one. But I'll just tell you once again what I've been told. Somebody told me that when you're about to pass away, you start seeing something good, almost like your loved ones.
Right.
Okay. They say usually when you see that, that person's going to heaven.
Yeah.
Whether people believe there's a heaven or not, I'm just saying that that's what, they've told me.
Yeah.
Then I've had people that have told me they went to go visit loved ones in the hospital, and right before they died, they saw something horrible and horrific that they panicked and they died.
Right.
Okay. 2 stories I have.
Yeah.
My mom came here from Mexico many, many years ago when she was a teenager, so didn't really get to see her father because her father was a older man. So he died over there, and she never really got to see him after her teenage years. So she always had her memories of him, but she had us, so she loved us, but she had family over there. Okay?
Right.
On her deathbed, she was laying there, and she was looking at the corner of the room, and she started talking to him. And it was almost like if we were not even there. And she started talking to him, and then started saying, like in Spanish, my father's right there.
Yeah.
I see my father. My father's right there. And my sisters were talking to her, and she was like, oh, I see him. He's standing right there. He's standing right there. And eventually she ended up passing away. I had a buddy of mine came up to me, and he told me, hey, man, I got this story. I don't know, you're like a religious type of guy? And I said, no, not really. I just need somebody to talk to, man. I just said, all right. And usually for some reason, I'm like a magnet for people to tell stories to. People come up to me and some people just feel that they can just tell me everything. There's a lot of things that I'll take to the grave with me that I'll never share. But I asked this individual if I could share the story, and he said, yeah, sure. Just, don't say my name.
Right.
I said, okay, cool. I'll just say his name is Bob. I'll just a made up name. So Bob and his brother, who didn't get along too good, went to go visit their mom, whom they didn't like. They didn't like her at all. That she was a bad mother, according to him and his brother. So Bob said, you know what, we just kind of want to go over there. And these are his words. Want to pay our final respects to that old bag. And see, because she was never a good mother to us. And he started opening up, started telling me stuff that she would do to them and stuff that she just wasn't a good woman, according to what he was telling me.
Yeah.
So went to go visit her, and hey, what's up, Mom? Whatever, we're here, blah, blah, blah. Because we knew she had maybe hours to live. And he goes, so we just got bored, there. So we turned on the TV and started watching TV. And I turned around, I looked, and she's pointing at the window, and goes, and she has this horrible, horrible looking face that she was terrified. And she was saying, do you see it? That's what she was saying. Do you see it?
Wow.
Do you see it? Like it was coming for her. No, no. And she died. Okay.
Damn.
And he didn't know like what just took place.
Yeah.
And so he came up to me and he asked me like, what do you think happened? I said, I don't know. I don't, like, I can't interpret that. I don't know what that is. He said, but don't people usually see like a light at the end of the tunnel or something good? I said, man, I wasn't there. I don't know.
Right.
I've never had those kind of experiences, so I can't talk about that. And it kind of reminded me of the Anton LaVey story.
Right.
Yeah. Look, my father used to always tell me, todo se paga. You're going to have to pay for everything. Okay? He said, whether it's good or whether it's bad, you are going to have to pay for everything one day. Okay? I had a man approach me many years ago, and he told me, one day when you stand before your maker, you are going to have to give an account of yourself. He said, whether it's good or whether it's bad. And it was almost the same thing that my father used to tell me.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. We don't know what's on the other side. And that's what remains a mystery. That's probably the billion-dollar question. Is there life after death?
Yeah.
So my question to you is, do you believe in life after death?
I personally do. After the experience I had with my mom, and again, there was even other events that led up to that day. She had told me that she had, maybe in the month leading, or the few months before everything had happened, she had said that she was, kind of in and out of sleep, and she had saw a light in her room where, she saw 3 beings. I'm like, what were they? Were they humans? She's like, I don't know. She's like, they looked like a human silhouette kind of, but the first thing that came to her mind were aliens.
Okay.
I'm like, okay. So, but yeah, she started just kind of telling me things like that, but with the most conviction, just like she was telling me, like the sky is blue.
Right. Right. Do I believe in life after death? Yes. Do I believe in heaven or hell? Yes. Can I prove it? No.
Yeah.
But that's just what I believe. Okay. I do believe that one day we are going to have to give an account of ourselves.
Right.
Whether good or bad. Okay. I've never believed the scale thing, like if you did more good, more bad. I never believed that.
That's an Egyptian.
Yeah, some people would say, yeah.
Yeah.
But I do believe that one day we're going to have to give an account of ourselves. Tony, where do you get your information? That's just what I believe.
Right.
You don't necessarily have to believe like me, but that's just me. There's a lot of people, I truly believe, that have done so much evil, okay, that they're going to have to pay for what they've done.
Yeah.
There was a documentary that I saw about a man whose life was ruined because someone told a lie about him.
Mm-hmm.
And that lie was told about him because he let go of this person. And this person lied on him, and it pretty much ruined him. He ruined him. He wasn't one of the kind of people that would lash back. He just kind of accepted it, thinking people would believe, well, if you know me, you know me. I wouldn't do something like that.
Right.
They didn't care.
Yeah.
They didn't care, and it ruined him. And it's on Netflix. If I remember the title of it, I'll share it. But it ruined him. Now here's my thing. This person later on comes out 10 years later and said she lied.
Wow.
I believe that person ought to pay for what she did.
Yeah.
She ought to believe she ought to pay for what she did, in this life or in the next.
Right.
In this life or in the next, you're going to have to give an account of that.
Yeah. Because
you pretty much destroyed that man's life and possibly his family's life.
Yeah.
Because you just wanted to lie. So a lot of times we just need to be careful on how we conduct ourselves and what we do. There's been times that I'll speak for myself, that I wanted to retaliate on certain things.
Yeah.
But guess what? You know what? It's not worth it.
Definitely not worth it.
It's just not worth it. One day that person will have to give an account of themselves.
Yeah.
So
everybody's always exposed, and I struggle with that. For the most part, I'm pretty mellow. I don't like fighting or nothing, but there's some times where people just they get to me like, Lord, please help me.
Yes. Yes.
But I always remind myself, I'm like, it's not worth it. I have too much to lose.
Yeah. Alex, maybe on the live chat you ought to ask a question. Has anyone ever experienced a near-death experience or something like that?
Okay, well, the last question was, do you believe you can sell your soul to the devil?
The last question was, do you believe you can sell your soul to the devil? And then
77% said yes.
77% said yes.
23% said hell no.
Okay. Norbert, when you get a chance, give him that mic over there so you can plug it in. But yeah, ask, do you believe in near-death experience, or has anyone had a near-death experience? Okay.
This is a little bit of a segue, but it's still on the same topic of what's after. But I love following different science articles and stuff and different science podcasts. And again, you got to be careful with what you read and stuff. It's hard to prove what's fact and what's fiction. But a lot of these scientists who are studying like things like astrophysics or particles and things like that, it's all crazy stuff. But they're saying that this is the reality that we're experiencing is not reality, the true reality. Mm-hmm. And it just makes you think. The more and more they talk about it, kind of leads more and more to the Bible. in what's said in the Bible or any book of faith.
And I get it, and I understand what they're saying, but maybe what they're really maybe, and I just say maybe because I haven't heard them. Maybe what they're really explaining is that there is life after death, and instead of calling it that, they're just saying there's another dimension.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So,
I think that that there's no words that are invented yet to describe what is next. The language is the barrier.
I don't even believe we've even seen, in my opinion, all the colors that are out there.
Right.
Maybe even the scents, that are out there. Just a quick thought. We all seen Jurassic Park, at least one of the movies. We don't really know. We know how they're shaped because we have their bones.
Yeah.
But we don't really know the true sounds that they made out of their mouths because none of us ever heard them.
Right.
None of us ever really know, were they all gray? We don't know what their color was, unless we found their skin. I never found anybody find dinosaur skin. Have you?
No, I think did they?
How do we come up with their color?
Right. I know they might have had scales, I think, from what
Right.
they found, but the color, they really don't know.
We don't know. We don't know
Yeah.
if there was ever any dinosaurs that were like chameleons, that changed colors.
Right.
We don't know. It would be interesting, but I will say this, and I'm going to step out and say this. I truly believe that now I'm starting to believe this. I never believed it before. I was never a big conspiracy guy, but I've known several conspiracy guys that are starting not to look as crazy anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. This one guy said, in our lifetime, we're going to see a dinosaur. And I was like, you're stupid. I'm being honest with you. You're stupid. And then Jurassic Park comes out. The first one.
Yeah.
And he tells me, they're putting it right before our eyes. They're getting us used to it. And I thought about that, and I was like, you know what? We've already talking about cloning.
Right.
We've already talked about human skin on robots that heals itself, that feels it's human skin on a robot. You were talking about a possible, what was it that was thinking for itself? You said earlier in the very beginning.
Oh, the AI.
Yeah, the AI that started to have a mind of its own.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't know. Some people believe that there's already clones, men clone here. Some people believe that aliens or humanoids are already here, hiding amongst us.
Yeah.
Some people believe in reptilians. There's so much out there. I'm not saying I believe all of that, but when I saw Jurassic Park and the way they explained it, how they took the DNA from mosquitoes and then combined it with the DNA from a frog, and then they gave birth to dinosaurs.
Right. It's funny how Jurassic Park, they even broke it down how to do it. You got to think that there's some scientists out there that like, hey, let me try this.
I would have never have thought about the mosquito thing.
Yeah.
I would have never have thought that, but they did it.
Right.
And then when they did it, they didn't know, if you will, in the movie, this is going to be a T-Rex. This is going to be this. This is going to be that. They didn't know, but that's what happened. A raptor.
Right.
We don't know how fast they were, or how slow they were.
Right.
But I'm starting to believe, man, I know I'm going to seem like an idiot saying this, but I do believe now that we may see a dinosaur.
Yeah.
How amazing would that be? But at the same time, almost freaky scary.
That scares me because I think, they're like we were saying earlier, how these people that are, the scientists, so they're playing with genetics and they're playing God.
They're playing God.
They're going to make something one day that's just going to, they shouldn't have touched.
Tell me if this has anything to do with what we're talking about. If you look at the book of Genesis, by the way, for those of you that look at the Bible like a religious book, don't look at it that way. It's a book full of information. It's a book full of wisdom. And it has blessed me in many ways on how to see, not only how to gain wisdom, how to receive peace, but also knowledge. Also knowledge. My favorite book out of the entire 66 books of the Bible, it's the book of Genesis. There's so much. And I share that because one wise man told me this. In the first 11 chapters of the book of Genesis, it's everything that's going on right now. I had to go back and reread it. Let me give an example. The serpent is talking to Eve, and he tells her to eat of the fruit. We don't know what fruit it was. It never said apple. Let's just get that out the way. It never said apple. Just eat of the fruit of the tree of knowledge, and good and evil. Okay. First of all, that don't even sound right. Good and evil. Okay. And according to this story, they were told not to eat of it.
Yeah.
Okay. But he wants her to eat of it. And then he tells her this, go ahead and eat it. Well, she says, God said we shouldn't touch it or eat it. Did he really say that? You know that's the very first question of the Bible? And it was asked by the devil, the serpent.
Okay.
The very first question was this. Did God really say? Okay. So, and then you're going to trip out on what's the second question of the Bible. Okay. Well, he said that day we eat, we should surely die. You should not surely die. Now he's saying God lied to you. He knows that the day you eat of it, you will become just like him. Okay. Now think about this. They were already perfect in a perfect world, just like him.
Right.
And he sold it to her.
So that's essentially dropping doubt.
Yeah.
Doubt, yeah.
Deception.
Deception,
Okay.
yeah.
They were already perfect. But listen to what he said. He knows that the day you eat of it, you'll become just like him, just like God. And what did we say today? Man trying to play God.
Right, right.
It has been that way since the very beginning.
Yeah.
Man trying to play God.
Yeah.
You know, so I can, you know that there's a group that, I won't say their names, but they consider themselves to be gods. And most of them are celebrities.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I think
Okay. They consider themselves, literally, I'm a god.
Yeah.
Okay. One guy approached me and told me that he was a god. So I asked him, what makes you God?
Yeah.
And here was his answer. And that idiot didn't realize what I was going to come with next. He said, because I can reproduce. I can reproduce. I have seed in me to reproduce.
Huh.
And you know what I said? Rats and roaches can reproduce.
Yeah.
And it's sad that in some countries they worship rats and roaches.
Right.
Okay? But let's look at seed. There was seed on the ground to reproduce trees.
Yeah.
To reproduce fruit. There was seed in animals to reproduce. And there's seed in man so that we can reproduce.
Mm-hmm.
Some countries look at animals because they can reproduce, that's a god. And
Yeah.
that's where religion has screwed up a lot of people.
Yeah. So I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So once again, if you eat of it, you would be just like God.
I'd heard an alternative view on the apple on how it might have been a psychedelic.
It could have been a mango. We don't know.
There's all kinds of crazy
With
views.
tahini, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the thing, you know. Okay, let me give you. You know what is the first fruit ever mentioned by name in the Bible?
No, what is it?
You're gonna trip out, and it goes back to the beginning of time. A fig tree.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, remember, Adam and Eve sinned, and they covered themselves with fig leaves. And I have a fig tree right outside. So yeah, I have a tree that's been there since the very beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love it. I love figs. Now, the second question, the first question was, did God really say? Questioning God's word. Number two, the second question was, Adam, where are you? He ate of the fruit. Now in the fallen world, he hears God walking in the garden, and what does man do? He runs and hides. He didn't want to give an account of himself. So he ran, and he said, where are you? I'm naked, and I didn't want to come out. Who told you you were naked? Well, the woman you gave me. So now he blames the woman. And then the woman blames the serpent.
Right, right.
And it's just a blame game from here on out. So
That's interesting. Yeah, I've always thought of that story. I've always thought that women might have been closer to God because they have the womb, you know. So women might be like you had said, you're touching on the story about how they were, women were targeted first.
Yeah. That's
because of their,
according to the Bible, the women was targeted. They didn't want to go to the man because the man had the authority and dominion over the earth. Think about this. If Adam truly did have authority and dominion, he could have told that serpent, get out of here, and that serpent would have never came back because he had authority to tell him, get out of here, leave. So he didn't want to get kicked out. He knew the serpent knew she didn't have it. So let me get her to get him to do it.
Okay. That's a trippy one. I've always thought like the power, the way I took the story was that the power that women possess.
Yeah.
You know, they were.
Oh, I'm sure she was fine, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but okay. Anyway, so now You mentioned here the stimulation theory on how it relates to the Bible. Can you kind of explain that a little bit?
Yeah, I think kind of like what I touched on, how
The simulation, yeah.
how the scientists are now realizing that the reality that we're living in isn't the true reality that exists. You know, and they start talking about crazy things that I hear and I like to repeat, but I have no clue what they're saying.
See, to me, that sounds like psychedelics, like their own psychedelics.
Yeah, it seems like it. Like, what are you saying? Like, it's wild. But they're talking about these dimensions and stuff, and how there is something else out there. But it's just every time I listen to these things, I'm like, it sounds like heaven. It sounds like, you know, maybe heaven's another dimension, but there's just no words to define what it is. Yeah.
And I'm going to quote Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan said that he was a what is that word? There's that word where he doesn't believe, but he doesn't deny. Oh man, I had that word on the tip of my tongue, but I'll come back to it. He said he used to believe in God. Okay, and that after he took psychedelics, he started seeing things.
Yeah.
And it changed the way he thought. He said, so I'm not going to say that I don't believe in God, but I'm not also going to deny it.
Like an agnostic kind of?
That's the word I'm looking for.
Agnostic.
He considered himself an agnostic. I was thinking novice, but novice is like a beginner or a new believer or something like that.
Yeah.
So, but that's what he said. So now he's on the fence. But here's the funny part. Because I've known dudes now, at least 3 dudes that don't know each other. And have taken psychedelics, and their belief in God is gone now.
Really?
Yes, and I started noticing that was a trend with some of these guys that were taking psychedelics. That it started changing their mind. Even the people that take I'm not going to say all of them, but the people that I know that have taken that ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca, yeah.
Yeah, and they've always just said, when I die, that's where I'm going to go. So now their belief in God is gone.
Really?
Yeah. Again, these are people that I know. I'm not saying that everybody feels that way. I want to be careful with that. But I don't know. What about you? You ever taking any psychedelics?
No. You know what? It's something I've always been scared of. I have the lowest tolerance even with smoking weed.
Okay.
Not that I'm against it, but I've always thought about like what do shrooms feel like? Maybe something like ayahuasca or that
peyote.
Yeah, peyote, things like that. You know, there's like sacred things for different cultures. You know,
yes.
Native Americans and
yes. Okay. I know people that take shrooms and they're cool with it like nothing.
Yeah.
There's people that take these gummy bears and it's like nothing, you know?
Yeah.
And then there's people that come back with some crazy stories.
Yeah.
Like I haven't met somebody in the middle. It's either, it's cool, I like it, I chill, and then, oh, I saw demons. I saw another dimension. I haven't met somebody that almost like experienced both. Like it's cool. Sometimes I get this, you know. So I look at my picture on the wall and it starts moving. No, it's always like it's all bad or it's like it's good.
Yeah.
You know. So, some people have said with psychedelics, whether this is true or not, I've never taken any of them. I'm not even a weed smoker. That depending on what psychedelic, if you're a happy, good, inspiring, motivated, cheerful person, it if you will, what do you call that? It
amplifies your
Yes.
your emotion, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
If that's what you are, you get more of that.
Yeah.
But if you're like a depressed person, and whether you're sad, whether you're not always in a good mood, or you know, one of those guys that always says, if it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have luck at all.
Yeah.
It's going to heighten, if you will. I'm trying to find the damn right word. It's almost going to give you more of that.
Right.
You know, so, and then I had heard that there's dudes that have taken almost like overdose on some of those psychedelics, and they never came back the same.
Yeah. That that I guess that didn't happen to me, but so my friend had given me an edible one time when I was younger, and he had told me don't eat the whole thing. He's like, but he wasn't very specific. He's like, it's real strong. That's all he said, and I never had an edible, so I'd had a little quarter of it, and I was just watching some movies and nothing. I found nothing. So it was probably 30 minutes. So I had another, the other quarter. So it's at half at this point.
Wow.
Long story short, I ate the whole thing. It was a muffin, and so maybe I fell asleep and I was fine, but I woke up in the middle of the night, and I was spinning. I was spinning really hard, almost like you're just too drunk.
Right.
And I seen just flashes of light everywhere. I remember that. And but I didn't have anything that was spiritual. How like people said, like if you take a really high, like a heroic dose, as they say. And I remember I couldn't even walk. I had to go to the restroom and I had to crawl to the restroom.
Really?
Yeah, it's just the room was spinning real bad. But
So you think that maybe, because I've heard stories like that where people have said, I've taken it and nothing.
yeah,
Like nothing. And then here's what I always heard. You got to wait. You have to wait. Don't think it didn't work.
Yeah.
That you take more. And that's the problem that a lot of guys, I just took another one. And before you know it, they eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
And they're tripping out. This one guy told me how he was just sitting in his car and he was just crying and he couldn't move.
yeah,
You know, again, whatever they took, I don't know. But some of them were crying, saying that they thought they were going to die.
yeah.
So,
I think maybe that's what people might be talking about as they get close to that feeling where they lose control of everything.
Right.
Maybe that it's like a near death experience almost, where it humbles them. Maybe
yeah.
I can see how they.
I'm cool with that stuff, bro. I'm cool with that stuff. Stuff's too freaky for me. Now, you had said UFO events in the world right now. UFO events in the world right now. Do you care to elaborate on some of the notes that you sent me?
Yeah, I was. We were talking earlier about how the media's, or the powers that be, rather, they're going to infiltrate people through pop culture.
Yes.
And I've always been a believer in aliens, and I think they've been here. That's my personal opinion. I got
Yes.
no facts for that, but
Are you
always.
an alien?
Huh?
Are you an alien?
My little body, big head. But I've always thought that. How come the government's talking about this so much right now?
Yes. All of a sudden, we're gonna let you guys know.
Yeah.
So you've been knowing and you've been lying.
Right. It's crazy to see how it's in the news now.
Yeah.
You know, that's like, what's going on here?
See now, again, you don't think they're preparing us for something?
That's what I think is happening. Yeah.
So we give it to them little by little.
Yeah.
You know, so when it does happen, you know what the average mind thinks? We've been knowing about that for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
You know.
I was going to say too that I was at one of my gigs recently, and I won't say his name out of respect, but he had said that he worked for he worked for some kind of defense company that worked with the government.
Okay.
And I started asking all these questions. I'm like, oh, what have you seen? What have you, is there any aliens? He's like, I'm not sure if there's aliens or not. He's like, but what I will say that is the government is working on stuff that you can't even imagine.
I truly believe that.
Yeah.
I truly believe that.
He didn't give any specific details, of course, but he had said, he's like, he kind of gave me hints. He's like, things with your eyes, things with your senses. He's like, we're going to be able to do things that you never thought were possible.
You know, there's brilliant men out there that are thinking about all of these things, okay? Why can't you just use your God-given brilliance to invent instead of trying to put chips in people's brains to make them smarter?
Right.
You know, like if I'm correct, I think it was Elon Musk that was for the brain chip. And I guess they were doing it on animals and they were dying.
Oh, okay.
You know?
So it wasn't taking to their brains and
But
stuff.
so many people that I've talked to about that were quick to say, I'll do it. And you don't even know if there's any side effects.
Yeah.
It's not normal to have a chip in your brain, bro.
Yeah.
You know? So, you know, I just think we're just trying to play God too much.
Yeah.
You know? Whatever happened to just reading a book,
Yeah.
learning. But no, we want to be superhumans. You know? Like now they're talking about you can make a certain person taller now. I think the most they can make taller is like 6 inches, if I'm correct.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll sign up for it.
Yeah. See, but now think about this. Say they're able to do that.
Yeah.
But that's not even natural. Is there a side effects that could possibly, you know, later in life, you know, affect you?
Right. You never know. Yeah. Things are so early in the stages of them playing with genetics and stuff, and it's just what can go wrong. What are the side effects? They don't know yet. You know.
You know, one brilliant, I don't even know if it's even an invention, but let's just say how you can get laser eye surgery.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to wear glasses no more. Okay. True story. I have a friend that got it in the early stages, and thank God, honestly, thank God that nothing happened to him because I love this dude. But he got in the early stages when they did it with a knife.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And if you look at his eyes, this is no lie. You can literally see the groove around his eyes.
Really?
Around the pupil.
Wow.
Yeah. And he just said, I wanted it. He didn't wait for the laser. He got it early on. Nah, so.
What are your thoughts about the government dropping all these videos and stuff on us? You think that this stuff, it might be real, the UFOs might be real, or if it's the government?
Okay, I know people on Freaky Tales already know where I stand with this. I don't believe in UFOs, but I respect what you believe. You know what I'm saying? I truly do. That's just your opinion. My thing is this. If I were to ask you a question, I know you wouldn't be able to answer it, but I want you to give me your best answer, okay? Do you have any proof that there are aliens out there?
No, yeah, I definitely don't.
Okay, see, but we don't even have any proof that this guy even exists, Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I even prove that the devil even exists?
Right.
But we do see things out there. We do hear about it, and it's been around for years.
Right.
So we go on, there has to be something out there. Do I want to believe? Yeah. I want to believe that Bigfoot's real.
Yeah.
I want to see one. All we have is a footprint and a bunch of branches moving on documentaries.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've had dreams that we are going to have an alien invasion, almost like, remember, is it a Tom Cruise movie? What was it called? World War I?
Oh, War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
But it was our own government disguised as aliens.
Oh, shit.
Okay. I can't prove that's going to happen, but I've had like crazy dreams like that.
Yeah.
But I need more to go on. I'm kind of like an agnostic. I'm not going to deny it, but I'm not going to, at the same time deny it. I mean, admit it, but I'm not going to deny it. Somewhere in the middle. So that's what I'll say.
I think that's why I like that show, The X-Files, so much, because it's the two characters, Mulder and Scully. They're, Mulder wants to believe, and Scully was the more practical one.
Right.
They always touch on those crazy topics.
Yeah. So here's what we're going to do. Alex, hopefully it's working. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my Bluetooth. Let's go ahead and put up the number. Let's take a couple of phone calls. We got possibly like 15 minutes left, and I want to take some phone calls. Anybody wants to call and talk on some of the topics that we've talked about. We talked about several topics already. Okay, connected. Okay, cool, done. So here we have the phone number. It's on the screen. So whenever you're ready, whoever wants to call, go ahead and give us a call. And you want to share a story, keep it under 2 minutes. No more than that. 2 minutes. We're trying to get as many phone calls in as possible. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the show. But a lot of you guys have been wanting the phone calls. So here we are with the phone calls. And let's see who calls first. All right. If not, we're going to continue with our topic. So until somebody calls, okay. Let me see. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Okay. Hello? Caller?
Hello?
Yes, caller. What's your name
Hello?
and where are you calling from? Hello? Yes. All right. If not, we're going to continue. Okay. I hear a feedback on us, but caller hung up.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get another phone call. If not, we're just going to go ahead and keep it pushing. So once again, give us a call. Here we have it. Caller.
Thank you for using where'smycellphone.com.
Okay. Somebody's playing around. If we continue to get these non-calls, we're just not going to take no calls because you guys ask us to let you guys call to be a part of the show, and we want to talk to you guys. So let's see. Once again, give you guys a couple of more seconds. Here we go. Hello, caller.
Yo, what's up, Tony?
How you doing? Where you calling from?
I'm calling from Bell Garden.
From Bell Gardens. How you doing? What's on your mind, man? You got
Yeah.
a question or you got a story you want to share?
No, I actually had a crazy ass story. Kind of similar to the story that you were talking about earlier about your homie. and their mom.
Yes.
So like that's just crazy that you told me that you were saying that because my grandma's brother had passed away like some years ago, and this fool was like not really a good fool either. He was like a weirdo, and like he was always just like he was just a weirdo, and like he wasn't really that much of a good person. And from what I remember, he used to do some fucked up shit too.
Yeah.
And so but he would smoke a lot of cigarettes and shit.
Yeah.
So he was on his deathbed and he was dying because I guess he had cancer and he went through all the fucking oxygen tanks and doing all that shit. So anyways, he was on his deathbed and so his kids were there, my grandma was there, and they were all just chilling because it was like a few hours left for him to go.
Yeah.
And this fool, my grandma said that this fool was just staring off, and all of a sudden his eyes got super big, and everybody turned he got everybody's attention, so everybody started looking at him like, what happened? And he was just looking like, what the fuck? And my grandma said that he had like this crazy, like scary look on his face, and that he was like saying the same shit that your homie's mom was saying, like, no, I don't want to go, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
And then he passed away.
Wow.
And the first thing I said was like, yep, that was the devil came to fucking take that fool because all the fucked up shit he did. And she was like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, do you believe that I don't know if you understand Spanish, but like my father used to say, todo se paga. Do you believe that everyone's gonna have to stand one day and give an account whether it's good or bad?
Yeah, that's why God gave us free will, because he God didn't put a limit on what we can do. He gave us all the free will we could ever do. Because at the end of the day, well, not at the end of the day, but at the end of the road, we're all gonna have to answer for all the shit that we did.
Yeah.
And we can't blame it on God and say, well, you said I couldn't do that. You said I couldn't do that, because he gave us free will. So he let us do all the shit we wanted to do, good, bad, ugly.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna have to pay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I believe that shit.
Oh, good, man. Thank you for calling, man, being part of the show and sharing that story. We greatly appreciate it, man.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Have a blessed night. Okay. Thanks for that call. Greatly appreciate it. There's a lot of stories out there that a lot of people want to share, but many times a lot of people don't want to share who they are. So you could remain anonymous. You don't have to say your name, but you can call, and if you have a story. Okay, we have another one. Let's see who this is. Caller.
For using Call My Love.
Okay, it's the same person calling with that same thing? Okay. Okay. Caller, you guys ask us. Okay. Gonna wait a couple of more. Let me see. Okay, if not, we're gonna turn it off. But okay. So the number's up on the screen. So if you guys want to call, and we got another call right now. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Yes. How you doing? What's your name and where you calling from?
My name's Alex, calling from Marietta. Grew up in Wilmington, though.
Okay, good, man. How you doing tonight?
Doing great, man. I love your show.
Thank you, brother. You got a question or something you wanted to share?
Yeah, I got a quick story. I work as a nurse and all that. So sometimes, I'm with people when they're about to go, or, kind of leading up to it. And I had one guy who was pretty respected in his community. A lot of people coming in to see him, well loved by his family. And this is probably the crazier one things I ever saw was he, when it was getting close to him to go, they do kind of stare off and kind of look to see people they love, loved ones come. But this time, he kept saying, no, go away. I don't want you in here. So this went on for a few hours. and, gave him some medication to help him kind of relax. But towards the end, probably about a few minutes before he passed, he just really got crazy. Was screaming at something to leave him alone. And probably about a few minutes later, he passed away.
Wow.
So that's my story.
It's pretty freaky, man. It's pretty scary because us, that are watching this happen or are eyewitnesses, how do we help a person like that?
Yeah.
And that's what makes it, crazy sad at the same time, because we don't want to see friends or loved ones like that. But how do you help them? Medication ain't going to do it.
At that point, it's between them and their maker.
Yeah. Okay, brother. Thank you for calling.
Yeah,
man. We greatly appreciate you calling and being part of the show, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the number's still up. Once again, if you guys want to call, go ahead and call. If you guys want to share, that's a second story like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy, so we appreciate you guys calling and being a part of the show. If you guys want to continue to call, go ahead. If not, we will continue our topics because, on my page, on the Freaky Tales Podcast Instagram page, I get a lot of people that always tell me, I want to make a call. Some people say, I don't call because I'm shy. I don't call because, let me see, it's unknown number. Let's see what this is. Hello, caller.
Hey, how you doing, Tony? I want to share a story, bro, real quick.
Yes, sir.
I'm calling from San Jose.
San Jose, how you doing? Yes.
So I'm pretty good. And you guys, I want to share a quick story, bro. Back in 2010, I was living in Redwood City, but I was going through a divorce. So I was going through a divorce, so I moved to, I was looking for a place. And I went to go wash my clothes at a laundry place. And there was a posting for a place in Santa Cruz that was really cheap. So, I kind of got fired from my job. I lost my lady, and I needed some time to think things over. So I said, okay, I'm going to go check this place out. When I went to Santa Cruz, it was out in the cuts by the beach. But it was a little bit spooky, bro. Mm. In the back, there was a bunch of gangsters living in the back. And I think that's why nobody wanted to live there. Am I still here? Tony, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm gonna rent this place out. It was this older white lady. She kind of looked like your homegirl. What's your homegirl's name? That lady Brown?
I'm not sure.
What's that girl's name? Tell me, your friend.
I'm not even sure which one you're referring to.
Anyway, yeah, well, she looked like it was a fatter lady with glasses, and it was a white dude who looked like a nerd.
Okay.
But the place was there for like a year. Nobody wanted to move in. So I'm going to get the place. So I got the place, and I went and introduced myself to the gangsters and told them, hey, look, bro, I'm not a gangster. I'm just a guy going through a divorce, and I'm going to move in here. And they're all, okay, take off your shirt. So I took off my shirt. I'm what the hell are you trying to look for, bro? He goes, okay, you don't have no tats. You don't belong to no hood or nothing, so you're cool, bro. I'm okay. I'm just a working guy. I'm going to live right here. No, we're not going to mess with you, bro. If you don't mess with us, I'm all right, cool. So anyways, that was that. I got the place. But the place was upstairs, bro. And it was a weird-looking house. And then to not stress out on what I was going through, I used to like getting the cow train. Mm-hmm. The cow train is a train that goes from San Jose to San Francisco. And I used to like that to release stress. And I used to throw on my headphones, turn my radio, and just go to San Francisco, bro. Go to San Francisco and maybe waste. I'm not gonna bullshit you. Maybe waste like $650 on the weekend. From Friday to Sunday, I would stay over there. Mm-hmm. There was a hotel where I would stay, and I would go bar hopping. And I would do karaoke. And there were some chicks that would work there, and I knew a chick named Maria, like Maria, okay? And I would go see Maria, but one day I got a motel. I had $650, and I told Maria, "You want to go kick it?" I never had the balls to tell her, so she wanted to go kick it. So she said, "Yeah, let's go kick it." So we kicked it, and we went to this motel. It was a motel where you would see teachers, you would see techs, you would see important people there, Tony. It was a dope place where everybody would go get high, do crack, do crystal meth, la neta. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I used to rent this place, bro, because I had a TV and you were able to see free porn. And I knew the guy already. And it was just a TV playing fucking porn all night and people tweaking. But you would see important people in there, bro. I don't want to tell you who I met, but there was important people in there. So this night I took Maria. And Maria was going to get down south. And she went down south, but remember, every weekend I would take $650 and I would hide it inside my sock. But this night, Maria got the best of me and she took my feria. Okay? She took my feria and she ran. And when she ran, I followed Maria and this big old black dude came out of the room. He looked like that guy. The guy that they shot. What was his name? The guy that we started the big old riots.
I have no idea.
What was that fool's name?
I don't remember. Floyd, if I'm correct. So is this a paranormal experience that you're experiencing right here, or?
Yeah. At the end, you gotta get the paranormal.
Okay.
So she took my money. I get inside a cab, and I go to the other side of town. And on the other side of town, bro, there was a black guy sitting on the seat waiting for the bus. But there was nobody there. There was only a guy sweeping the streets and washing the streets with a big old pressure washer.
Yeah.
And I sat by the black guy and I told him the story. And the black guy goes, "So that's a real story you're telling me, that you lost that money?" And I'm like, "Yes, it is." I'm like, "I was fucked up." He goes, "So how are you getting home?" I'm like, "I have no idea. I have no money. I'm stranded here." He goes, he looked at me, and he looked at me kind of weird, but he gave me a look, and he goes, "Hey, brother," he goes, "you're going to get those $650 back." And I'm like, "No, I'm not. Hey, but thank you for making me feel better, bro, and talking to me." He goes, "Yes, brother." And he had a little luggage. He looked really professional. And he goes, "Yes, brother." And he looked up at the sky. He goes, "See that big old shining light?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "What is that?" He goes, "That's another planet that's coming." And I'm okay, cool. And he goes, "But you're going to make it back home. I promise you that. And you're getting that money back." And I'm like, yeah, whatever. So I was just chilling there, sitting down, Tony, and the wind starts blowing. And I seen this lotto ticket just flying back and forth in front of my face. I'm, oh, shit, that lotto ticket.
Yeah.
I'm like, somebody already scratched it. So I picked it up, and I scratched it. This is a true story, bro. It was $650. And I went to 7-Eleven and I'm like, "Man, this ain't real." And I went to 7-Eleven and I cashed it and it was real. And I got the $650 back and I went back home. Bro.
Awesome, man. Thank you, man, for
And
sharing
to me,
that.
that was paranormal.
Yeah.
To me, that was paranormal. That's something really weird. Because that guy looked at my eyes and he goes, "You're going to get that money back. I promise you, though."
Yeah.
And when the wind started blowing, the lotto ticket was just flying back and forth. I ain't going to get that shit. That shit's garbage.
Right.
And I picked it up, and there was the $650. And that was a story I wanted to tell, Tony.
Thank you, man. Thank you. You know, I have a question for you. Okay. And
Yes, sir.
you don't have to, but I want, who were some of the people that you would see at that hotel?
Who were some of the people I would see at the hotel?
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you, bro, but it was some rappers from San Francisco. It was some famous tech people.
Okay.
And they had the best crystal meth, bro. They had the best fucking drugs, bro. You know, that's all I'm gonna say, bro. And they used to party. They used to party with some freaks, bro.
Okay.
And that's all I'm gonna say, Tony.
Okay. Thank you, man, for calling. Thank you for being a part of the
Okay.
show. Thank you for sharing that. Greatly appreciate it. You have a blessed night. Okay, and we're done. So, Sammy, that's why I like to keep the conversations short, because that was like a 6-minute conversation, which was cool. I'm glad he called, but I like to keep them under 2 minutes so that way everybody can get in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So, I don't know. Would you consider that a paranormal story or just kind of a freaky story?
Yeah, it was a bit paranormal. If you don't mind that I shared one thing, he made me remember this story. I told my girlfriend, I think she's the only one that knows about this, but I was at the gas station one day near where I live. Go there weekly. I go there all the time. And there's this one homeless dude that he just hangs around right there. And I see him all the time, but he wears, every time I see him, he's wearing army pants.
Okay.
He's a big guy. So he looked like he was in the military.
Yeah.
And he comes up to me one day, kind of all walking fast. I'm like, oh man, what's gonna happen? I thought he was gonna hit me up. But anyways, he comes up to me and he says, he's like, you have no idea what they're doing. And I'm like, what? Who's doing?
Yeah.
And I thought he was on a good one. I thought he was tripping.
Right.
He's like, you have no idea what the military's doing. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, the military is that they're up in space and having wars with the other planets right now. I'm like, what? I'm tripping as he's saying all these things.
Wow. You're thinking he's on a good one.
Yeah, I'm like, this guy's. But he, at the same time, he seemed completely sober.
Right.
Looking me in the eyes, he wasn't, he didn't seem like he was high. But that just kind of made me think of
Yeah. Well,
crazy interactions we have in the
almost like
streets.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But anyways, other than that, once again, why don't you give the people the location of where you're going to be at again tomorrow? Maybe they might want to stop by again or want to fill them in as far as Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah. So it's Saturday, Sunday. It's called Spooky Expo. It's at Frankensons. That's in City of Industry. Frankensons, if you don't know about it, it's a big collectible warehouse. Mm-hmm. If you like Funko Pops or NECA characters, like from all the horror figurines, it's a place you would love it. But it's all a bunch of Halloween vendors.
Okay. And for what time to what time?
I believe tomorrow it's going to start at 10 a.m. And I would suggest if you want to go, get there early because the parking there fills up quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 10 a.m. till what time do they close?
They close at 5, I believe.
Okay, so about 10 to 5, you got roughly a good 7 hours, 8 hours, 7 hours. Yeah, so 7 hours of fun. If you guys want to go over there and meet with Sammy RUIZ, he's live on Freaky Tales right now. We want to thank everybody that is tuned in, everybody on the live chat. I hope you guys are having a great time. Sammy, any shout outs or anything you want to, say?
Yeah, big shout out to my big supporter, my girlfriend Mandy. Mandy has a clothing line called Monster Under Your Bed Clothing. She's going to be there tomorrow.
Awesome.
She makes a lot of horror clothes. My friend Art has a new horror museum that's going to be opening up in Montclair for any people in the IE. It's called Art Sideshow.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
Please let me know. I would like to go.
Yeah, it's a bunch of like big real life like Pennywise from It.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, awesome.
So that's pretty cool.
Other than that, I'm going to give my shout outs and then we'll call it a night. I want to give a shout out once again to my team, Alex Cervantes Enterprise 81. Also, Norbert, once again, for being a part of our team. Thank you. My son, B. Scanless, for helping me promote this, being a part of this team. Also, the Hip Hop Jedi. Once again, I want to thank everyone on the live chat, everybody who's not on the live chat, everybody who likes, subscribed, comment, like, dislike, doesn't matter. You guys are still watching, but we will be back next Friday with hopefully the person that a lot of you guys have been requesting. So hopefully we can make that happen, but we will be back. Until then, expect the unexpected, and we'll see you here next week. And for those of you that are fans of my other podcast, Rhodium Radio, tomorrow I will be live with American Cholo at 6 o'clock on his podcast. I'll post that on my story on Freaky Tales, but I'll post it on my page on the Tony Vision page. I'll also post it on my YouTube as well for those of you that look at my YouTube community. So I will be live tomorrow with American Cholo to clear the air on certain things. So other than that, have a crazy night. Once again, expect the unexpected, and we'll see you here next week.